All right, let's talk about AI. It's everywhere, right? And it kind of feels like magic. But have you ever wondered what's really going on behind the curtain? So let me ask you this. What do you think actually powers artificial intelligence? Like, what's the engine? Is it just, super complicated code? Giant server farms? Or maybe just pure raw machine logic? Well, what if I told you it's not what you think? The source we're looking at today, this incredible film called Humans in the Loop, argues that the real answer is, well, it's a lot more human. And believe me, it's a story that could completely change how you see our digital world. Okay, so first things first, we've got to talk about the AI we think we know. You know, that popular image of a machine that just thinks for itself. Sleek, seamless, independent. Yeah, we mostly see it as this perfect, neutral, totally independent black box, right? You pop in a question, you get an answer, it feels automatic, super objective, like it's totally separate from our messy human world. But here's the thing, that whole idea, it's pretty much an illusion, and we're about to unpack why. So let's pull back that curtain. Our guide on this journey is a film by Aranya Sahai, and it follows a woman whose story really shines a light on the hidden engine driving the entire AI industry. The film is called Humans in the Loop, and it introduces us to Nehma. She's an Adivasi woman in India, and her job is, well, she's a data labeler. She literally spends her days teaching an AI system how to see the world. And her story isn't just about a 9-to-5 job. No way. It's about the deep, profound human cost and the human contribution that's holding up our most advanced tech. And this is where you see the core tension the film explores. On one hand, you've got the machine's logic. It's all about classifying, calculating, and basically reducing everything to simple data points. But on the other hand, you have human experience, which is, messy. It's full of emotions, relationships, and context. Nehma's world is all about feeling. The machine's world is all about cold, hard calculation. So the big question the film poses is, what happens when you try to force one into the shape of the other? And that brings us to the first big aha moment here. AI isn't objective. It just isn't. It's built from human choices, which means it also comes preloaded with all of our human limitations and, yeah, our biases. So how does that bias actually get into the system? Well, it's pretty straightforward. It starts with a person, someone just like Nehma, labeling data. And her choices, which are obviously shaped by her own life, her culture, they form the entire data set. The machine then learns everything it knows only from this human-made reality. So that person's limited perspective, including all their blind spots, that becomes the machine's bias. It's not some bug in the system, it's baked right into the design. The film uses this really powerful visual to show this. These digital bounding boxes that get drawn around people's faces. It's the perfect metaphor for what's happening. You take a complex human being with feelings, a history, a culture, and you just flatten them. You reduce them to a simple data point that a machine can read. A whole rich reality gets simplified, just so it can be calculated. This all points to something academics call epistemic hierarchies. It's a fancy term, but the idea is simple. Our society tends to value one kind of knowledge, say the technical skills of a programmer, way more than the lived experience of someone like Nehma. But here's the irony. The whole system would totally fall apart without her input. Her knowledge is absolutely crucial, but it gets dismissed as invisible, unskilled work. Which brings us to the next huge piece of this puzzle, because it's not just about bias. It's also about the absolutely massive, hidden workforce all around the world that's doing the hard labor to make AI feel so magical and effortless. This is what people call invisible labor. It's all the essential work that, frankly, is hidden on purpose. It's kept out of sight because if you actually saw it, the illusion of this perfect automatic machine would just shatter. And the film does an amazing job of capturing what this work feels like. It's this endless, repetitive rhythm. It's click. You spot an object in an image. Tag. The machine gets something wrong, you fix it. Correct, again and again and again. It's an endless loop of human supervision that's being sold to us as machine independence. And the scale here, it is absolutely staggering. We're not talking about a handful of people. We're talking about millions of workers all over the globe. A kind of ghost workforce in our digital economy, doing these little micro tasks day after day. There's actually a name for this, commodity fetishism. It's this idea that a product shows up in our lives like it was made by magic, with no backstory. The AI feels alive, it feels smart, it feels independent, because the real story, the story of millions of human clicks, of tired eyes, of all that effort, has been completely wiped clean. All we ever see is that slick, final product. So where does that leave us? What does all this actually mean? Well, it means we probably need to completely rethink what we even mean when we say artificial intelligence. So let's break it down. Here are the big takeaways. First, AI is not neutral. It never has been. It's basically a mirror, reflecting our own values and biases right back at us. Second, it's not autonomous. It's completely dependent on constant human work, which means that technology is always a social product, shaped by things like money and power. And that means the real loop isn't just a loop of code, it's a loop of human experience feeding machine intelligence. And this pushes us to ask a much, much deeper question. If the machine is really just a reflection of us, of our work, our choices, our biases, our power structures, then what does the way it behaves really tell us about ourselves? And that brings us right back to the film's most powerful central message. The machine isn't some alien intelligence that's coming to replace us. It is us. It's built from our hands, from our brains, and from our collective experience. And you know what? Really, truly understanding that, that's the first real step toward building a future with technology that's actually more responsible and a whole lot more human.